24 hours of Cybertruck ownership, reactions, and a lot of fun, plus 3 key features you haven't heard about.
Well, good morning, everybody. I thought I would give you an update after one day of owning the Cybertruck, and it's been quite a whirlwind since I picked it up on Friday afternoon. On Saturday, I got a chance to spend some time with some of my Academy classmates, Jeff Gibbs and also Nebosha Solonek, also going by Solo as his call sign. And all of us graduated from the Academy, became pilots, and went on and did quite a bit with our careers. And Jeff was kind enough to bring his Cessna 172, a very nice 1957 variant of that Cessna 172, and gave my 8-year-old great-nephew his very first ride in an aircraft. And also my nephew went along as well. And just because of the weight of what the Cessna can carry, we were only able to get my nephew and his son in the flight, but it was outstanding. And my great-nephew had an outstanding time flying for the very first time. And I really appreciate what Jeff did. And also, we got a chance to spend some time with the Cybertruck. And I'll tell you, my 8-year-old great-nephew knew everything about the Cybertruck, was super excited, was trying out every single button and setting that is possible on the Cybertruck. So for those that are talking about the need for maybe advertising, or maybe people aren't aware of what's going on with Tesla, I can say absolutely definitively the kids are very well aware of what the Cybertruck is and all the features of Teslas. It's quite a big hit. Now, after we were at the air park and we got a chance to fly and also spend time with the Cybertruck, we went over to a restaurant for lunch, and the entire restaurant was looking at the Cybertruck, asking for pictures and texting their neighbors and their friends. It was quite the scene. So once again, pretty impressive first day with the Cybertruck. Now, as far as owning and driving it, obviously I don't have a whole lot of miles. I'm getting ready to go on a trip with the Cybertruck down to Starbase. But a couple of things that I did notice that I don't know if people have talked about before, and one of them has to do with the driverless or the drive-by-wire steering. And it's not how it works, which is very interesting, and I actually liked it a lot, but it's the sound. Now, I'm used to hydraulic power steering, and there's a certain sound with that. You can hear the pump, and you can hear the hydraulic fluid making the actuators work with the rack and pinions. But with this one, it's different. It's more of a kind of a linear sliding sound, kind of very, I don't know, mechanical, electric. It's very unique, and it's combines with the kind of the industrial sound of the motors when you're driving. So it's a very different sound, and the systems work really great, but it's something that you have to get a little used to, especially since the Cybertruck is so quiet. Now, there's 3 things that I want to talk about on this Cybertruck that you may not be aware of or you may not have heard about. So let's talk about those here, and we'll go through each of them here shortly. So I'm here underneath the Cybertruck, at least on the sill, and there's 2 interesting things that I noticed about the Cybertruck, which is one unique to coming from Giga-Texas, and the other has to do with a different kind of lifting support brackets that you would use if you were to put the vehicle on a lift. So here's the first one that I did notice. If we look under here, underneath the rocker panel, you can see all this kind of mud streaking. That's actually from Giga-Texas, and that's a consequence of Giga-Texas having all of the construction that is going on. So it's not really an issue to me at all. Obviously, it can be cleaned off, but it's actually kind of funny for me because I've been watching these vehicles built for such a long time, and people keep asking about why are the vehicles covered with mud at Giga-Texas? And that's because Giga-Texas is a major construction zone, and it's impossible to not get a lot of the mud from the site. So it's really pretty cool for me personally to be able to see that a bit of Giga-Texas remains on the Cybertruck at the delivery event, which is pretty cool. Now, while we're under here, a couple other things that I want to show you that are different about the Cybertruck versus other Teslas. It's a system of providing a lift point to jack up the car, whether to use a jack for maybe changing a tire or to put it on a lift for maintenance. Now, on the underside of most Teslas, they have lifting points with a kind of a hole where you would take a device like this, which is a kind of a puck with a insert, and it would go into that recess on the front and back along the sill of a Tesla, and you would use that to the jacking point. But on the Cybertruck, they don't have provisions for these at all, and they have a completely different system. And here's exactly what I mean is you can see this part of the battery pack, and it says lift point. This is where you would put a jack or put the lift to get the vehicle up off the ground. And you can see there's no recess. So this item here that you would normally use for a regular Tesla that would go in to have a point for the jack to connect to prevent damage to the pack, this doesn't have it. It just has these kind of reinforced sections. You can see some of the spot welds here, so it's at least a doubled plate, and that is what you would use to lift up the Cybertruck. So a big difference between this and a normal Tesla. So the second thing I want to show you that you may not know about the Cybertrucks is when you come up here to open the door, you know that you push on this and the door will open up, and then you can pull the door open. But do you know how that system actually works? Well, let me show you how the system works and what it is that's actually popping the door open. Now, if you take a look at this part of the door, you see these items here. You got the two screws that hold this mechanism in, and then you see this plunger. And this plunger pushes against the side of the door here, and when you hit that button on the B pillar here, it tells the system to open up this door by pushing this plunger out. Now, there's a trick that I can use to show you how that works, and that is if you use a kind of a screwdriver like this, and you put it into the door and you simulate that the door has shut like that, the door mechanism is now shut as if it were closed, and the system thinks that the door is shut. So if I were to come up here and push onto the button, you'll see that this lever pops out. And when that lever pops out, it pushes against the B pillar of the Cybertruck, and that's what pushes the door open so that you can open the door. And once a certain amount of time will pass, then it will retract back into the door, and we'll be ready to shut the door, just like that. Okay, so now we've talked about how the door works and how it opens up, and I've also talked about the lift points. One of the things that I want to show you in the Cybertruck that you may not have seen has to do with opening the frunk, the lid, if you were to be trapped inside. Now, we've all seen this before. We know that there's this button here that you can push if you were to be, for some reason, trapped inside here, and that will open the frunk. And if I push the button here now, you'll see that it will close the trunk lid. So this is kind of the system that they have in place for the Cybertruck. But it's different on the back and kind of interesting. So let's go back there and let's take a look. Okay, so I've walked around to the back, and we know that if you push this button here, the tailgate will close. And also if you push this button here, the tonneau cover will open up. Now, the interesting thing about this is, unlike the frunk that we just talked about, if for some reason you were to, I don't know, say get locked inside here, how do you get out? Because there's no real button that's very obvious like you would see with the frunk. So as you can see, there's the opening for the power receptacles. We have the smuggler's box here that can open up. and but there's no real exit point there, and there's no real buttons anywhere that you would see in the bed of the vehicle. However, there is this kind of device here, and if you pop it open, you can see these red kind of straps inside, and these are what you would pull to open up the tailgate if for some reason you were trapped inside the back of the Cybertruck. And to be honest, I haven't heard anybody talking about this yet, but it's an important safety feature because once it is closed, you could be trapped inside if you didn't know what to do, especially since when it's closed, it's completely dark. The LED lights around the bed go off, and the only lighting that you get is through the window coming in from the passenger compartment. So there you have it, a first impression about driving the Cybertruck and owning it for just over a day, and the reaction that it gets, plus 3 interesting things that you may not have heard about the Cybertruck before. Now, I will continue to do more of these as time permits. As many of you know, I am heading down to Starbase tomorrow, so I will be doing a road trip and doing some documentation about that and what the experience is like. So stay tuned. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.